And he had to take technical difficulties with that first episode.
And hide her away while her injuries healed. Prosecution kind of called that kidnapping. Force of control. Next is Cassie alone. We have a period also of Gina. We'll never understand the real picture on Gina. And then Jane.
It's always the change.
Defending that behavior.
Damn it.
Poll is still up. We got 3,000 votes. Should Jordan 25 be replaced? 75% so far say yes. 25% say give Jordan number 25 another chance. Oh, give me one more chance. Give me one more chance. Give 25 one more chance. 25% say 25 should get one more chance. Another chance. It's after chance.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto North Sheridan Road.
In the meantime, I'm just kind of sitting back, kind of waiting a little bit. Verdict watch. Chalky Diddy case. Now, we might not hear nothing for hours. Might not. Amazon in the house, delivering packages to the courthouse.
What the hell? Amazon's delivering packages to the courthouse.
Amazon. All right, any other hiccups?
What the fuck is she wearing?
Media outlets are reporting Diddy trial hits snag.
She's going right here in the fucking cameras.
Diddy trial hits a snag as one juror apparently can't follow judge's instruction.
That's actually almost bitch. Sorry. Technical difficulties, GPS I needed. What's up, Rascal? Up to no good.
At the light, turn right on.
No, I haven't seen the show Squid Games. What's it about? What's that about, Squid Games? Is it something about like P. Diddy? Oh, don't turn that red.
Saw something crazy yesterday.
I can have it hit the sign right over here, but they don't put it down there, so they can get your ass
Right
at
outside
that
watching
camera that's right
TV.
behind me.
Everyone didn't know what was going on. It ended up just being malfunction. Amazon truck.
In a quarter mile, your destination will be on the left.
Well, sometimes when the marshal moves up there, it means there might be some camera movement here. We shall see. Nope.
There's such a diabolical face. His face is so diabolical.
Also, I'm doing now is going on all the feeds and seeing all the talk, any new developments. Chit chatting with all of you a little bit.
Johnny, all I have is the same question about the Squid Game.
Afternoon call. It's crazy because during the whole trial, usually the court will start ending right around the next. I can't. You know what? This has been going pretty quick today. I'll be honest. Today has gone quick.
Yeah, the trial's over. Of course it's gonna
It's
go
gone
over.
pretty quick.
Your destination is on the left.
Say about a couple hours into this now. Mr. Lopez, nice to see you. Can you recap the George 25 those coming in? Melissa Lopez and everyone else that's coming in. There was an issue earlier where the person wanted to speak to the judge. They handed the jurors handed in a note saying 25 is not going along with the jury instruction.
Either A, he wants to vote
And they
not
brought
guilty
that
for
to
everything.
the court's attention. Judge, encourage them to continue deliberating. So nothing happened at juror 25, but juror number 25 seems.
Let's get fiscal. Lesson 2, credit card combat. Getting your finances together? Learn to master your money with credit today for a stronger tomorrow. Defend yourself against generic advice and one-size recommendations. Credit Karma.
The prosecution cited U.S. v. Baker, Second Circuit, where they upheld a conviction after a juror got replaced because they wouldn't deliberate. They refused to deliberate. So they technically kick a juror off for not deliberating and have a conviction upheld. You can't argue that. The defense wouldn't be able to argue that.
What if they would
No,
argue for
juror
a mistrial?
and have the case reversed on if it gets convicted. U.S. v. Baker. Now this juror is still on. The juror is still on. So maybe the juror just came to their senses now. We shall see. If he gets convicted of 18 U.S.C. 1591, 18 U.S.C. 2421. Rescuing
That's
our
Wrigley
communities.
Field.
I'll put in 1591. That's traffic. And 2421, we know what 2421 is going to be. Transportation. Transportation of prostitutes over interstate line. Rescuing our communities thinks that he gets convicted, so count 2, 3, 4, and 5. Are you saying rescuing, not count number 1, RICO? But even on those other convictions, Diddy faces decades in prison.
If he gets convicted. I got a feeling they got that one juror that's just gonna vote not guilty for everything.
But here's another question.
This used to be a McDonald's right here.
If he gets decades in prison off the other ones, I'm not sure he'll get life if it's just convictions off 2, 3, 4, and 5.
What if it's
Or
just
even
off
just a
one?
couple of the other ones, besides the RICO.
I don't think they're gonna convict him.
But if he gets, they can't come up with a verdict on
Because
RICO,
earlier
or
this
he gets
morning-
acquitted on RICO
Hold
one,
on, I'll wait till he's done talking.
but convicted on the other. Does that mean everything gets forfeited?
But here's the thing.
If they couldn't convict him on RICO,
On
does
the
that mean all his
RICO,
assets get forfeited?
the judge gave
Or is the judge
instructions
imposed a fine?
this morning on the RICO.
Can you get your assets forfeited without the RICO?
So basically, he was saying for RICO, it's got to be something about like 2 or more people
So is
involved.
this lawyer's thinking, well,
But there's
the
only
very
one
worst, if
person
we get
fucking
her,
on the stand,
that's we
fucking
maybe
being
get.
charged.
It's not like you quit across the board. Maybe a conviction on one of the ladders, but not on RICO. You keep your wealth, you do your prison, your family's set for life. How about that? You ever consider that?
He should have transferred all that money to his kids ASAP.
Not on the RICO, back in.
All this time he's been sitting on any bit of his wealth, his house, anything, he should have transferred all that to his kids.
That's, because he gets the
From
RICO
day one,
conviction, his
back
assets,
9 months ago.
all of them. All of them. Bad Boy Enterprises crumbles right before our eyes. All the way down, like gone for good. Like it's literally gone.
Bad boys for life. Ain't no party like a diddy party.
Oh, he's the
That's
Michael
funny.
Jordan of the freak offs, 23.
He is the Michael Jordan freak
that
offs.
The Michael Jordans of the freak offs, right there. Showing he did it come.
That's funny. They got him in a Jordan suit. That's an AI picture of him holding the baby oil.
Another question is if he gets convicted, like rescuing community, said, like, expects a conviction on 18 USC 1591 and 18 USC 2421. What about if you get a hung juror on RICO or conviction on the other?
What's a
Do
hung
they
juror?
retry on the RICO? Or are they satisfied with decades of prison on diddy? And the others, retrial.
Yeah, I'm trying to get
assets. You gotta bring all the victims back up.
Yep, yep.
Judge's note, I receive your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and their obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating.
Back row, so.
Keep it going. Please continue deliberating.
86, but it feels like 93 with the humidity.
Make sure you share this video out. Would really appreciate that.
Yeah, make sure you share my video to all your friends.
We are doing continuous coverage of the Sean P. Diddy Combs
I'm doing
case.
coverage of anything interesting.
See if we get any
The
other
migrants are
issues
still
going
here. They're
on.
at the Marine base on Foster still. Still no citizens living there, of course.
Last day of the month, folks.
Actually, is it tomorrow the last day of the month?
Tomorrow we hit July.
Oh, tomorrow is July. Shit. Oh, shit. I think I take care of that.
All right, DJ Vex 02 puts a song out. And I'm trying to get the rhyme jingle to it. Diddy, 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 I'm not surprised. But there's an issue with George 2 and 5, 25. I hope it doesn't take too long, but if it does, I'll finish this song. I'm trying to get the tune to it, DJ. Thank you. But there's an issue with George 25.
That's what Trump's saying. Let's mix up.
If you're paying more than
Don't listen to this AI bitch. Look how real AI got. Look at this shit. That looks like a real woman. That bitch is AI. That's not a real woman. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy how real AI got looking. Man, that AI got some major deep fakes.
And they've let it be known that they're not going to be firing at American ships anymore. Not going to be firing at Americans anymore. This was a heavy barrage that lasted for approximately 50 days. And as you know, they've been in war essentially for forever. But over the last 10 years, very difficult for other countries. Nobody was able to do what we did. But they stopped, and we take their word for it. The surrogates and them directly said, we don't want to do this anymore. So we were satisfied with that. In addition, yesterday we achieved a total reset with China after productive talks in Geneva. Both sides now agreed to reduce the tariffs imposed after April 2nd to 10% for 90 days as negotiators continue in the larger structural issues. And I want to tell you that a couple of things. First of all, that doesn't include the tariffs that are already on, that are our tariffs, and it doesn't include tariffs on cars, steel, aluminum, things such as that, or tariffs that may be imposed on pharmaceuticals, because we want to bring the pharmaceutical businesses back to the United States, and they're already starting to come back now based on tariffs.
That sounds good.
Because they don't want to pay 25, 50, or 100% tariffs, so they're moving them back to the United States. I spoke to Tim Cook this morning, and he's going to, I think, even up his numbers, $500 billion. He's going to be building a lot of plants in the United States for Apple, and we look forward to that. I really do look forward to that. But
all my electronic shit.
he talks in Geneva. We're very friendly. The relationship is very good. We're not looking to hurt China. China was being hurt very badly. They were closing up factories. They were having a lot of unrest. And they were very happy to be able to do something with us. And the relationship is very, very good. I'll speak to President Xi maybe at the end of the week. We have some other things we're doing. But one of the biggest things that we're doing, and I don't know if people realize this, but we made a great deal with China, great trade deal. But it was a much bigger deal originally, and then they canceled it right on the last day. Some of you faces I remember were there when that happened. I remember you. And we had a deal where they opened up their country to trade with the United States. And they took that away at the last moment, and then they canceled the whole thing. And then 6 months later, we ended up doing a smaller deal. But it was a big deal. It was $50 billion worth of product that they were going to purchase from our farmers, etc. And we agreed to that. People thought it was 15 because they were doing 15. We made it 50 because I misunderstood the 15. I thought they said, I said, you got to get 50. Because when I asked, if you remember the story, when I asked, what are we doing with them? My Secretary of Agriculture at the time, Sonny Perdue, said, sir, it's about 15 billion and we're asking for 15. And I thought he said 50. So I said, so they came back with the deal at 15. And I said, no way, I want 50. Because you said 50. They said, sir, we didn't say that. Anyway, bottom line, I said, go back and ask for 50. And they gave us 50. And they were honoring the deal. And we called them up a lot for the corn and for the wheat and for everything. They were honoring the deal. And then when Biden got in, they no longer honored the deal. There was nobody to call. I would call on an average of once every 2 weeks to say, come on, you have to speed it up a little bit. And our farmers were doing great. I said to them, buy more land and bigger tractors, if you remember. That's what happened. But the deal was a very good deal. But the best part of the deal was that we opened up China. China agreed to open itself up to American business to go in. And it would have been a great thing, I think, for China. They would be able to see things that they haven't seen. They would be able to buy products that they have never been able to buy. It would have been great for American business. I think it would have brought unity between China, better unity between China and the United States. And the bottom line is that they canceled it the last day. We were all set to sign it, and I went a little bit angry. I got a little angry. They said they canceled it. The deal was done. It was all ready to be signed. And people went over, they came back to me, sir, they don't want to sign the opening up China. Well, the biggest thing that we're discussing is the opening of China, and they've agreed to do that, but it's going to take a while to paper. It's not the easiest thing to paper. But that's the single, I think, to me, some people would disagree. Some people would say we're getting a lot of money with tariffs or whatever, but, you know, especially when you add what we already have. Because remember, we're already getting the 50% on steel and different things.
And that's another thing Trump needs to do. That's very important. Start paying down the national debt.
But the biggest thing to me is the opening up. I think it would be fantastic for our businesses if we could go in and compete with China. It would be a lot of jobs for China. It would be, I think, at a time when they can frankly use the jobs. And that's what we're talking about. So that's a very, very important element to add. So when Scott, I watched him speak the other day, and I think he didn't want to say it, but I said, it's okay to say it. Look, if we don't get it, we don't get it. But if we don't...
We're trying to do up
Gory chaos.
Very fair.
Verdict watch. We are on verdict watch here. We'll continue to stay through the whole process to see. Then we have the music on very softly. And we be convicted of all 5 counts. Convicted of 1 count. We find him not guilty of all counts.
I think they're gonna find him
Would be a
guilty on
hung
one.
jury. Conviction on some, but not all. Do you think the prosecution proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yeah, but at the same time, not everything is being charged with, and also.
Killer, you have a very pleasant personality. Hey, Dr. Cat. Hey, you got an orange tabby. I got an orange tabby too named OJ. Thank you. It's obvious he's guilty of all this and much more, Jody says. Imagine how dangerous he will be if he gets away with it. Scary. Putting Diddy back out on the streets, knowing what you saw on Star Island, 200 Mapleton, Park Hyatt Hotel, victims out there. This is what the jury is probably looking at right now. Pick a predicate within the RICO buffet.
I'm sure you like,
RICO
subscribe,
buffet.
share,
We
hit
got
thumbs up.
bribery, we got some meds, we got baby oil, arson, kidnapping. Just pick. Just
What
need
the
2
hell?
of 8. 2 of 8. Pick yourself a predicate. Doesn't have to be that. Pick a predicate. Put it on your plate. The RICO plate. I got t-shirt, spraying hair. All you can eat RICO buffet. Remember, if you find him guilty of RICO, each predicate 9 or 8 or 8
Fish is so
or 8.
funny.
I'll take a little bit of meds there, Frank Black meds. I'll take a bottle of what is that? A bottle of Frank Black prescription bottle. That looks like oil to me, but meds.
Different.
Are you feeling stuck with $10,000 or more in
I wish I was not in debt. I wish I was feeling stuck with $10,000 or more, though. I wish I was feeling stuck with any of it.
Joined now by our Lisa Evers from Fox 5, who's been in there more than I feel like anybody else has been in there. Can you just talk a little bit about what has happened this morning? How long did it take to get the jury to go to the deliberation?
Well, this morning, Judge Arun Subramanian, who's been the judge in this case, he instructed the jury. It's called a jury charge. He went through point by point with the laws that Combs allegedly broke with these charges and how they should consider them, giving them instructions about how to handle it. And it's just, Arthur, it's a day that, like, a lot of people thought, would never come at some points, because this trial is gone on for almost 2 months. And, there were dozens of witnesses. And then about 11:30, they moved into the, around that time, not exactly, but right around that time, they moved into the jury room to begin deliberations. He's the judge. I want to say something about him in terms of the charges, because he's been very much trying to keep everything on track in terms of time, giving both the prosecution and the defense time when they needed it, giving jurors time to take breaks when they needed them, and just making sure that the whole movement was leading up into this day. And here we are, they're deliberating.
Did he spend any sort of emphasis on any of those 3 categories of charges, or was it pretty even?
I think more time, I wasn't watching it on the clock, because I'm like listening and taking notes and everything. I think that the most important one was the RICO, because that's the most serious one that comes with the heaviest
That one I don't
penalties,
think
that could
they're
come
gonna
with
find
life
him
behind
guilty
bars
of.
if he's found guilty of that, or certainly decades upon decades. And
Maybe I'm wrong.
there's one RICO, there's counts,
Comment,
and
do
a lot
you
of
think
people are
he'll be
confused
found
about this too.
guilty?
There's 3 charges,
And if so,
but there's a
what?
total of 5 counts. There's one count on the racketeering, which is the RICO. There's 2 counts on the sex trafficking, there's 2 counts on the transportation across state lines for prostitution. So that's your 5 right there. So they have to consider each one separately.
And do you agree with what legal analysts have told us so far, that the racketeering charge is going to be the toughest one for them to consider?
Hold on. I'll pause.
Points, because initially people were saying no way are they going to get RICO, and then they were like, they don't have the evidence that Bad Boy Worldwide, Combs' entire company, was a criminal enterprise. I mean, the guy was making hit records, he was running all these businesses.
Well, he
had all
hasn't
these
made any
lifestyle
records
brands,
since
he had a clothing
2016.
brand, all of
That
these
was
things
his.
that were generating millions of dollars. Much money that he was on the billionaire list a number of times. So that one's a complex one. On the other hand, other attorneys that I've spoken to who have tried these cases and who follow these cases very closely, these RICO cases, said that at least depending upon the prosecution, depending upon the jury, they only need to have 2 predicate acts, evidence of 2 crimes to support that RICO. So it's not as hard as everybody thinks. It really depends a lot on the jury.
Okay, a couple of last questions. What does the jury
Like,
look like?
subscribe,
Is it
share,
a
hit
makeup
thumbs
of
up.
8
We'll
men,
find out. Comment if you think he's gonna be
for
guilty
women
or
who
not.
matter to you? Do they look engaged today? Do they look
Oh
tired?
no, they were very, very engaged and I think really ready
They're
for
ready
this
to
day.